I'm back, and we're gonna do the Rockstar Games Protagonist. Go check out my Red Dead tier list videos if you haven't already. First up, Trevor Philips from GTA 5. I guess he is a little bit crazy. You know, he does kill people out of nowhere. I would say he's probably the ruthless, but he does have this sense of loyalty to like his friends and family. He goes to an extent, but he's willing to protect Michael and Franklin and his business partner, and he does really care for his inner circle. He runs a lot of businesses in the desert. I just love how he was best friends with Michael, and he did find out that he did fake his death. I thought that was a little bit interesting, and he was like really mad at him, and he never let that go throughout the entire game because like he always trusted him. And you know, Michael is like a liar and he does have a lot of problems. No one does really care about him. He's always willing to like protect other people, and he never like received that back, so it does like mess him up in a bit. Like he is a psychopath, but he is one of the most interesting protagonists because it's such like a completely different like mindset than the rest of them. So I'll put him at B just because he does have that interesting interpretation of the world. Next up we have Arthur Morgan. Probably the most popular protagonist in this list. When that game came out, Red Dead Redemption 2, that character became the face of that whole genre. Arthur Morgan, he goes on this character arc of becoming like a bad person, and then he realizes his mistakes, and he really becomes like a good person in the end in his story. Most of these characters, some of them do die, but like this is the first time where you realize, yeah, Arthur is gonna die at the end of this journey, and you have to cherish the moments towards the end of the game because you want to do what's good for the gang and try to save people. And I think that it is like an interesting way because with the other protagonists in Rockstar games, you enjoy them, but like you really immerse yourself in this character when you played the story in Red Dead 2. And I just kind of love how much Rockstar put detail into even Roger Clark, the actor who played him, and he put like so much effort into his acting and just his performance in this character. And there's so much like in depth that we don't even know for his character. No, he has so much like to him. You can find out like so much about him. Like he had a son, he had like this old girlfriend, and this is completely missable in the game. Like there's so much in depth, and if you reveal different dialogue and different cutscenes, you become more attached to this character. As one scene in chapter 6, he's like, oh, I had a son, I had this wife, and that just makes you closer to him because you feel like you're a part of him now, like towards the end of his journey. This is like the most closest you feel with the character out of all these people on this list, I would say. So I would put him at A. Yeah, definitely one of the best. Next up, John Marston. So yeah, John Marston obviously is the face of Red Dead Redemption. And I love his character arc in Red Dead 1. And even the Red Dead 2 epilogue is such like a perfect bridge between both of those games because he isn't like really a good person, but he's always trying to do better at the end of his journey. I've already explained a lot of his story in like other videos and stuff, so I don't want to go too much into depth in that. But at the end of his journey, he always makes mistakes. He trusted Agent Ross and like he ended up getting killed. He always wanted to do better. And he was one of the few who made it out of the Vanderlyn gang. And then he ended up killing his old people from his past. He is like the last cowboy in the Wild West. Again, I talked about his character arc a lot on this channel, so I won't go too much into depth, but I would say A also. Him and Arthur are like hand in hand to me, so probably one of my two favorite characters in Rockstar games. Next up we have Michael DeSanta. I think his character is also really interesting. He does like have a lot of anger problems, and he is a successful bank robbery, and he's retired in GTA 5. He has this like, you know, big house in LA and stuff. He has a lot of family problems. He has a lot of anger problems. And what I love is like, he is in therapy. He has a lot of like mental problems. He's not happy with his life. And I think that's really interesting because, you know, most of these characters, I would say they're pretty happy, but I think Michael DeSanta is pretty depressed. His life shit. His, you know, son's got into drugs. His daughter's a whore. His wife's cheating on him. And so much things happen to him in like the GTA 5 story. This guy's had a hard life. He has killed a lot of people. He has a lot of problems. But at the end, it's weird because his problems don't get really resolved in the story, but he's set like on his way to becoming a better person. He is who he is. He kills people. He's a bank robber. That's his character. And I don't think he really changes in the story. Which is kind of funny because he doesn't really go on this arc. It's just more of like he stays who he is and he kind of accepts who he is. He works on his anger. He wants to like build relationships with his family and friends, like Trevor, rekindling that friendship that they had. And I guess that's kind of the theme of GTA 5, friendships and relationships. But I want to go to depth and more in this character, but I'll put him at A. Yeah, one day I'll make like a full video based on him. But yeah, I just love this character so much. And next up we have Franklin. And Franklin is, I would say, most people's favorite GTA 5 protagonist. For me, me. I like Trevor and Michael way more, but Franklin is really cool, and the overall story kind of revolves around him. So he starts off and he's this kind of gangster in Los Angeles. He's kind of surrounded by losers as well. He's in this rat race of just like killing some guys, a few jobs here, but I think he has this drive of becoming more with his life, abandoning his childhood home and like moving up in the world. I think that starts with him meeting Michael, and then they develop a friendship. You know, they rob banks and they do some stuff throughout the story. He gets this big house in the Hollywood Hills, and he becomes way more than his friends in the hood, basically. He wants more than like the hood. He doesn't want any parts of gangster life or anything. He just wants to get out of the system. And also, it's actually kind of funny, like the guy who played him, the actor, he was actually like Franklin himself. He was in the hood and he was like a gangster and stuff. And you see him in GTA Online and he's become like this big CEO. So I would put him at B. He's a pretty cool character, not gonna lie. And next up we have CJ from GTA San Andreas. CJ, I would say, yeah, a lot of people really like him. I do definitely really like him also. You know, at the beginning of the San Andreas story, his mom got killed, and there's a lot of like hustle and bustle in the town where he grew up in. He's got family, he's got his brother, his sister, and they're all like, oh, why'd you just like leave the city? He kind of wanted to get away from the hood too, I think, and he wanted to get away from that kind of life. So, but he had to come back because his mom got killed, and he was kind of thrown into his past troubles and his past things, so he had to come back and kind of clean up his mess that he kind of left. And there's a lot of like betrayal in his family. Big Smoke and Ryder, they betrayed him. And there's a lot of betrayal in the San Andreas story itself. He's always like watching his back of like betrayal. And I guess he's kind of used to that. Someone killed his mom. He's got to stick close to his family, and I guess that's the thing of our GTA San Andreas. That's the whole theme. Just stick by your family and stick. That's the overall theme. I really like his character, so I'll put him at B. Next up, we have Tommy Vercetti, the main character in GTA Vice City. I really like this character. He doesn't really have a character arc. The whole GTA Vice City is very inspired by Scarface. I guess he was into drugs and stuff. He was selling drugs in the beginning of the story. The whole thing went wrong. I guess his like mob boss was like trying to look for him. What I love about GTA Vice City is that he kind of took over the whole world basically, and he has like a lot of businesses in the city, and that's one of my favorite aspects about the game. You can like take over like different businesses and stuff. Just get this big mansion towards the beginning of the game. So in the beginning, you're kind of like, okay, got this full mansion, got this whole army, and he just sets out to take over Miami. And at the end, his friend Lance, he betrays him at the final mission. It was weird because like I guess people always just kind of suspected him, but except for him, you know, him and his like boss kind of like betrayed them at the end of the game. So he's kind of left with him and his lawyer at the end, and they just kind of like, you know, reconcile and just appreciate each other's company. And that's a big theme of like, you know, Rockstar games, and all these protagonists they all go through betrayal. So the whole theme of all these games is just stick by who you really trust and stick by your true friendships. There's going to be some betrayal along the way, and you're going to have to deal with it. That's kind of like each story in a sense, like in a nutshell. So I'm going to put him at C just because, you know, it's good for an old game because, you know, this is obviously an older game, but he doesn't have character arc. So next up we have Claude. Probably one of the worst protagonists on this list. Bruh. To be honest, I didn't really like it, but Claude doesn't even have a voice thing, so I don't know his complete story. It was a little bit weird, and he's kind of like this psychopath who takes any orders, basically. He never questions. He's like, okay, I'll kill this guy no matter what. That's him. That's his character. He's not three-dimensional. Like, obviously, the newer games have more in-depth characters, and the older games are more straight to the point. I'll put him at D. Not much there, to be honest. And there you have it. Just a quick little GTA Protagonist tier list. So just to recap, we have A tier, Arthur Morgan, John Marston, and Michael DeSanta. We have B and Trevor Philips, Franklin, and CJ. C, Tommy Vercetti, and D is Claude. I wish I could play more of these games in the future, maybe do LA Noire, but I wanted to make this tier list video because I didn't, you know, miss the tier list series. Yeah, give it a like if you enjoyed. Tell me which one's your favorite character in the comments below, and so I'll see you guys next time.